Hey, Andre.
Hi, team. How are you?
All good, thank you. On a nice sunny Friday. What can be better?
That is true. That is true. It's also nice here, and the weather looks good for tomorrow too. So
Absolutely.
looks good. Dominic is still on another call. I don't know if he joins late. So
Okay.
we can start.
Okay. Well, you'll see from the top of the screen that I'm recording this.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So the point of this is I'm going to imagine that you are a customer and I'm going to deliver my intro to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then what that enables us to do is get the recording, give you the link to the recording, and then you've got the PowerPoint already.
Yep.
And then so you can translate the PowerPoint, and then you can just listen to my talk track, and then you can build your own words around it.
Cool. Sounds good.
Okay, so let me find this presentation and get us ready to go. Okay, so we're all good. And of course, you can see the screen, yeah? Can you see my screen, Andre?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, we're good to go. So you are my imaginary customer, and I'm now going to present my usual opening, which takes us to the point where we hand over to the demo. Now, just before I start, as far as the demo is concerned, I will speak to Achint, who returns from his holiday on Monday, and I will get his ideas how we're going to do this. So it comes in two parts. My intro, his demo. But today we'll just concentrate on the intro.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so here we go. So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our session today. We're going to talk about digital transformation and automation around SAP-based processes, predominantly in our shared service and GBS customer base. So, of course, where we are today, lots of things come up about automation, and all these things you see on the screen now about better experiences, better operational efficiencies, they're all very important. So let me introduce myself. My name is Tim Woodhouse, and I concentrate on our large, complex, multinational customers, mainly around shared services and GBS, covering my region, which is sort of Eastern Europe, Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, out as far as Bulgaria and Turkey. So quite a big area. And what we're going to talk about today is my introduction before you see the demo. I'm going to describe what you're going to see, and I'm going to describe how it works, not in a technical manner. So here we go. Let's look at this graphic here, and you'll see SAP in the middle. Now, I think Windshuttle is best described by this blue halo that surrounds SAP, because Windshuttle really is a rapid development layer around SAP. It's also very secure, provides good governance, and also provides performance protection for SAP as well. But we can talk about that if you want to. This rapid development layer allows us to interact with SAP in different ways. And the different ways can be described like this. So you see on the left something called data liquidity. And then we move on to probably the most talked about solution today, which is actually handling the whole process and the interaction with SAP. So that's digital process transformation. And then the one on the right is this thing that I would call a digital junction, but this really is best defined as system connectivity. And I'll talk briefly about what they are. So first of all, data liquidity. Data liquidity is how do you develop something that can interface very quickly to SAP and either push or pull lots of data really easily. And we would call this a robotized data transportation. It's incredibly fast. It's hundreds of times faster than RPA. When you talk about things like, if I talked about dense data, you know, dense data would be like an invoice that has lots and lots of lines that all need inserting, so incredibly fast. What this data liquidity tool does, when we call this Windshuttle Studio, is it means that you can start to look at retiring old SAP or other solutions that you may have taken on board. These include things like LSMW, batch updating, scripting, all those highly technical things that you can retire, because we are very much a non-technical solution. It's a business-friendly solution, but it very much respects security and governance. So really what we're saying is you can't use this tool to do something that your SAP logon does not allow you to do. This is not a backdoor, but it does allow a lot more, as we would call, democratization of solutions in the company. Now, how does it work? It works through probably one of the most well-known interfaces that we all see, which is Microsoft Excel. And this tool sits as an add-in. So it's remarkably easy to use. You prepare your data set in Excel and you transact that way. Very, very easy. As you heard me say, the area that's most prominent today, the one that everyone wants to talk about, is not only handling that data interaction with SAP, but handling the process and handling it in a manner that is very, let's call it, customer experience friendly, meaning that the interfaces are designed for the user's capability. No one needs to see SAP screens at all. No one needs to start emailing around data in spreadsheets. Everything is contained within the solution. That's the data and what I would call the collaboration flow, where there's a group of us all working together. When I finish my task, it moves on to the next relevant person. Okay, so what does it look like? Well, of course, it looks like your image. And this is one of our customers, and you'll see who they are. And this is how their, let's call it, digital office looks, their shared services hub. It's about an environment that is graphical and easy to use, made up of icons, drop-down menus, but most importantly, all of the data that can be inserted, it's always validated. So no one can ever insert incorrect data. That's really important. The last point is this ability to connect different systems, this digital junction. And here I'd mention two things. One is if you have been involved in RPA at all, then we have something called our SAP API, where we actually join it, let's call it join it to the RPA tool, and we take the last, let's call it the last mile or the last kilometer. All the difficult work of getting the data into SAP, if you're using Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, UiPath, you just connect to our API and it makes it so much easier. The other one, the other connectivity point is what we call the Evolve API. And this is how we connect other systems into that digital process that you heard me talk about. So if we need to connect other systems because you need to look at other data to make decisions or bring in other data, that's where we use this API to connect. So the next question is, looking at your business, where do we actually play? Where does Windshuttle make good sense? Well, as you heard me say, we work right across the SAP platform. So whichever module you have, it could be logistics, it could be master data, finance, HR, it works the same. And one license, in fact, can be used across all solutions. There's no different modules. Now, what I would say is that the most common area where people first use our solutions is finance. We have some really great solutions around accounts payable. That includes taking in this unstructured invoice information directly from scans or PDFs, through to a full suite around R2R, around general ledger and reconciliation. For instance, the most common use solution of ours is journal entries. We have a super solution there. And indeed, coming strong now is our financial close cockpit, which helps you close your financial period. Let's hope we can help you close that little bit earlier, which of course is everyone's target. The second area that we're really well known for is building, creating and changing master data. That's right from customers and vendors. And for those of you who know SAP material creation, you'll know how deep that actually is and how many very, very different components there are. We are very good in master data in, as I said, the process of creation, the process of change, and the process of what I would call mass data uploads. Okay. Now, the story wouldn't be complete without talking about S/4HANA. So as far as S/4HANA are concerned, we're very useful in, for me, 3 areas. First of all, we will help you clean that data. So as you migrate data from your ECC to S/4HANA, our toolset will take your data from ECC, then when we can run it through some scripts to actually clean it and change it, and then upload it. The second area we're really good at is helping you remove those custom codes. So in your SAP today, you'll probably have a lot of codes which are prefixed as Z codes. And going forward in S/4HANA, of course, SAP suggests no longer having those. They want you to have a common database, a common look. What we do is we take those Z codes for you, and they're created in WindShuttle. So all that development and all that ease and customization is now sitting in WindShuttle. Most importantly for the future and helping the business user experience is, and going back to this digital transformation, we provide this new layer above SAP. So for instance, some of our clients deploy our digital transaction first, and then they move to S/4HANA later. But of course, the user experience, those nice screens and those nice forms don't change. So the users never really notice that you've migrated. So those are really good areas. The question is, why digitize a process? And before we move into the demo, I just want to leave you with this. Now, we can approach this in 2 ways. There's data automation, and indeed our own tool, which you heard me call Data Liquidity, WindShuttle Studio, is great for this. And this really means that you automate the data loading or extract into SAP, which is great. But what remains outside as a manual task is all of the communication that you have with your colleagues, email handling, data preparation, sending backwards and forwards those Excels to say, this is not quite right, it might need changing. All of that remains within your task list, manual. Now, the difference when you talk about digital process automation is, yes, of course, that interaction with SAP remains completely automated. However, the task management, the validation of the data, and all of the collaboration is automatically taken care of in a much more user-friendly manner. And all it might leave you to do is give the final approval. So digital process automation is very different to data automation and has a lot more value because you can actually affect the user's experience and how they interact. by designing a solution that works for them. If you have people that are not very technology orientated, they can be helped by giving them a solution that's friendly to them, by asking them simple questions instead of giving them huge Excel sheets or difficult and complex back office screens like SAP. So we're going to move now towards the demo, and in this demo we're going to demo both of them. We're going to demonstrate the data liquidity, but we're also going to concentrate very heavily on this graphical digital office idea. And of course, if you're involved in management, this is what you'd like to see out of it. And because we're managing every single touch point within that digital process, we're collecting all these very small pieces of data that mean that we're able to deliver real meaningful dashboarding, process reporting, and all of that is live. So you'll be able to drill down into any process and see which transactions are stuck where and why. And that's what happens when you handle the whole process. You're able to track absolutely everything. So that's my introduction done. And now I'm going to hand over and we're going to move into the demo. So thank you. That's it, Andre.
I must say, I'm convinced.
Right, isn't it?
Clearly, you have presented this many times, and you have this speech polished really well. Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, we heard this before. We just never had to, like, you know, remember it all to do the same thing. But now with the recording, I think.
Yeah.
We need to think about how to translate it well to both.
Exactly.
But the story itself, I think
the story's fine. You just need to use your own, you know, your own words and your own manner. Don't copy anything I do. And what you might do is look at a slide, listen to what I say, and think, do you know what? He said 3 important things there. And as long as I say those 3, it doesn't matter what words I use. And then you move on to the next slide and you listen again and say, actually, the only really important thing he said there was this line. So as long as I use that, I'm done. So you don't have to use all the flowery language around it. You just think, if I get the main points over, great. That's it. So Andre, what we'll do is we'll shut this meeting down. It'll prepare the recording. I will sit the recording on my YouTube channel, and then I'll send you guys the link, and then you can just keep looking as many times as you like.
We will do that. When do we have we still have like 2 weeks.
Time. Is it like 6th of May?
6th of May. Okay, good.
So the next task is for me to talk to Achin and say, hey, we got this really interesting idea where we're speaking to a highly Polish audience. How do we get you, Achin, to interact with Dominic or Andre as to how we talk people through this demo? So that's my next challenge, and I'll talk to him on Monday about that.
Yeah, let's do that. I will see. I mean, I presume if we know exactly what's going to happen, then we should be able to do this.
That's exactly it. What we'll do is we'll script it. So we say, hey, let's have a look at the first idea. What we're going to do here is show you what a journal update looks like using the data liquidity tool, or Windshuttle Studio. And then what we're going to do is show you what a really heavy data upload and extract looks like. And when you finish that, you can say, okay, so did you have any questions? No questions. And then you can say, right, let's move on to the digital solution. And here, what we're going to show you is this and this and this. Yeah. And then it's all like prescribed, and Achin only follows the menu.
Yeah.
And then if we have to go off track because we get questions, then you can just be the translation point.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see how it will be with questions in the initial meeting. There may be very few or none at all. But, and if there are any, some of them will be able to answer ourselves.
Exactly.
And with some of them, we will ask. Yeah, for sure.
So I think we'll give you this recording today.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the PowerPoint. Change it. Develop your own style, your own words. As I said, just look at the slides, work out what the important points were. That's it. On the Atchin side, it will be very scripted, like you and I just said. We'll do 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. It won't go offline. It'll just be those 4, and that way your introduction in Polish and Atchin's flow will work. Okay.
Sure will. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Have a nice weekend.
You too. Cheers. Bye.
You'll have the recording as long as it takes, I don't know, 20 minutes to process, and then you'll have it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.